we're going to warm up with C major scale skills. But before we start, just want to mention a few things about technique in general. First of all, if you've heard from your piano teachers to curve your fingers or support your fingertips, they are probably correct. But I'm wondering whether they've also told you why you have to do those things. First of all, it's easy to kind of think about it if you think of your fingers as your legs. So we bend our knees as we walk. So that's probably the number one reason why we curve our fingers too. So if you kind of think about it as your legs, it kind of makes sense. And also when we curve our fingers, all the fingertips are on equal footing. So they're all on the same level if you have straight fingers. And sometimes we do use straight fingers for certain lyrical passages that needs wider surface areas. But you'll notice that all the fingers are at different length. So that's one of the main reasons why we curve our fingers. And when you think about it, you have to keep your wrist loose but fingertips firm. And that's a concept that's difficult to do too. And first of all, you need kind of strong fingers to do it. And that's why we do these scale exercises. But another thing is if you also think of that as your body analogy, it makes a lot of sense. So your wrists and above is kind of like your upper body. So, you don't want your upper body to be very tight as you're walking. So your legs are doing the walking, and your fingertips is like your feet. So you want to be solid and kind of planted on the ground as you take your steps, but you don't want your upper body to be tense, interrupting that walk. So just think of that as you play these scales, as you walk, in the octave walk, and as you run for the 2 octaves. So we'll take it nice and slow, and by now I'm sure that you know your fingers. But just in case, it will be 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1 for the right hand, and left hand is 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then cross over. The 3s will line up in the same places. Let's do it nice and slow, quarter notes. And we'll do it twice in a row. 1, 2, quarter, start. Sit up nice and tall, relax your shoulders, open up your chest. Let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then thumb left hand, and 3 slide up together. So we're at about this pace. It's probably around 60 or so, and we'll try 2 octaves. Ready, go. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and we're gonna do 2 more times. Start. Once more. It's a little difficult to see my wrist on the screen. Just wanted to say that as the scale speeds up, you're probably bouncing your wrist less. Just as if you were running, then you're not bouncing your upper body up and down, right? And then it's just not very efficient. So I'm keeping it more or less on the same level while it's still loose, and then moving mainly the fingers to run. And then, but while you're doing the quarter note, you are able to relax through. Slower the tempo is, bigger the motion can be, right? And faster the tempo is, smaller the motion has to be. Okay. Okay, we're gonna do the tried inversions. This is probably one of the elements that's on this page that a lot of students find most difficult. triad inversions is that we take the same triad, so in this case C major, and we are just changing the ordering. So we have C on the bottom, now we're going to put C on the top. Notice how the fingering changes to 1, 2, 5, not 1, 3, 5, to minimize the unnecessary stretching. So we're going to have 1, 2, 5, and then now it's an E to the top. We're going to have 1, 3, 5. So if you've never done this before, you can, also take time, a lot of time in between the shift, or do it separately, kind of like this. Let's try that together. So from the root position, 1, 2, ready, go. Skipping around. And then together, shift, prepare, and chord, prepare, move, prepare, and we're gonna repeat this one on top. Together, shift. Now G's on the bottom, go. Move, prepare. Move, prepare. After doing that, now we're going to do it as block chords, but how about stay 3 counts per chord? And it's hard, once again, it's hard to see my wrist in the video. I'm lifting and kind of releasing and then placing. So it's release, place, release, place. In order for singers to sing, they need to breathe, and pianists breathe with our wrist. I always say this. So, as you're breathing, you are releasing, and then, landing, releasing again. So it's a concept of tension, release, Okay, so, and we're making round shape. You can kind of exaggerate even with the elbows. We're going to do 3 counts per chord. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, shift. I'm adding pedal 2, shift. I got the pedal lean. 1, 2, 3. Now on top, going down. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, now let's try 2 beats per chord in your inversions. 1, 2, ready, start. 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, place, release, place, release, place, release, place, release, place, release. Once more, ready, go. Place, release, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, play, move, and shift, and land. Okay, relaxing through them. Now 1 count. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, make sure your arms not tensing up. Now onto the primary chord progression. So the primary chord of C major, moving to F. C, F, A, C, F, A. Left hand fingering is 5, 2, 1. Right hand is 1, 3, 5. And back to 1. Now 5, 7 with B, F, G. And going down to C. And just like with the triad inversions, in between these chords too, I am placing, releasing, placing, releasing, place, release, place, release. Ready, go. 2 counts. 1, 2, 1, 2. Place, release. Use your arms to follow through. 1, 2. Again, go. 1, 2, 1. Okay, now the last thing we're going to do is arpeggio, which means like a harp. And it's just a broken chord over and over again kind of thing. We want to have loose wrists to kind of, follow along. 1, 2, 3, 4, kind of like that. Instead of using, well, you don't have to use all your elbows to follow, but it's mainly the arm guys and the wrist is following through. Okay, for this one, we'll do left, right, and together. And we'll do left hand twice, right hand twice, together 3 times. Okay, nice and slow. Let's see if I can have a metronome going on. Maybe that's a little too fast. Let's see if I can slow it down. Hold on. Sorry, taking longer. Oh no, that's a volume. You know what? Never mind. No metronome. Okay. We're just gonna do nice and slow, and I'll just count out loud. 1, left hand, go. 5, 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 4, 5, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Now prepare your right hand. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Ready, go. 1, 2, 3, prepare, follow. 5, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. And after this, we're going to do both ends. Sit up nice and tall. 1, 2, both ends go. Two more times. Two last time.